Roll call, please.
Sorry. Mayor Gibbons,
Here.
Councilmember Jack,
I am here.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Here.
Councilmember McLean,
Present.
Councilmember Reinecker, Councilmember Schaefer,
Present.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Here.
Since there are no recognitions, presentations, or public hearings, we'll move to public comments. Clerk, could you?
Yes, ma'am. The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council to the chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed.
Thank you. David, did anyone fill out a comment card who wishes to make a comment?
Mayor and council, there are no requests for comment.
Thank you. We'll move to the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Comments, questions? No, okay. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The consent agenda passes. We'll move into unfinished business. Bill 11041. I'm sorry. 11040.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is an ordinance granting a special use permit for outdoor dining at 436 North Kirkwood Road, Cafe Napoli, subject to certain conditions.
Are there any questions or comments about Bill 11040? None? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Bill 11040 has passed final reading. Thank you.
Thanks.
1041 now.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance authorizing and directing the city clerk to submit a proposition to the voters within the city of Kirkwood at the November 5th, 2024 election, calling for an amendment to section 3.13A of the city charter to eliminate the residency requirement for the city attorney.
Are there any questions or comments about Bill 11041? Other than I think this is a good idea. That's important to state. Any further comments? Roll.
Just a quick one that, this is, it's a tough time and it's going to increase our pool of applicants for the future.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yeah, a quick question.
Oh.
Has Mr. Hessel been our city attorney since the charter began?
Not quite. Bob Hemeke was the city attorney when it was adopted in 1984. And then Bob moved out of town, and then actually Bruce Woodruff served as the city attorney for about 6 to 8 months. And then the conflict arose. Then I was appointed the city attorney in 85-ish.
Ish.
So,
He's been.
Okay. So it goes back to how important it is to a pool of applicants. We've now had this, been in this position really since the charter started, with the exception
Right.
of the first couple of years.
no, that's exactly right.
So it's a very important resolution and
Been very fortunate.
so I concur with Nancy and you, Mark, that this is very important that we pass
And
it.
I will say it's a rather unusual provision to have in the charter. Not unusual for judges, but very unusual for the city attorney to have to be a resident of the city.
And we're one of the few cities in the county that has that requirement.
Correct. That's what I meant, Al. That's exactly right.
Discussion. Are we ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Bill 11041 has passed final reading. We will move into new business, Bill 11042.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance readopting a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interests for certain officials as set forth in Chapter 2, Article 1, Sections 2 through 5 of the Kirkwood Code of Ordinance.
Do I have a motion and a second to accept Bill 11042 for first reading approval?
Motion.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
This is something that we just do, I'm sorry, Mayor, like, this is something that's done every couple of years, is this?
I think we do it
Required by
every
the
year.
state statute that you have to do it every 2 years, and if you do not adopt it, then all of you have to file different forms every year with the Missouri Ethics Commission. This is a way to adopt it so that you can avoid some of the nuances and inconveniences associated with filing as elected officials.
And is the language in the ordinance that, is it dictated by statute? or-
Correct.
So that
Yep.
this comes right out of statute then?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
To go piggyback off that, the city of Kirkwood adopted a procedure many, many years ago that we would file annually instead of every 2 years. So we file with the Ethics Commission this ordinance every year instead of every 2.
Thank you.
All righty. All in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11042, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Bill 11042 has passed for first reading approval. Bill 11043.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance amending the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Article 8, Section 14-393, Schedule C, no parking zones, by removing the no parking restriction in front of 1007 North Woodlawn Avenue on the west side of North Woodlawn Avenue.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second to accept Bill 11043 for first reading approval?
Motion.
Get comments on it or?
Hold
We have to
on, you
make a
gotta do
motion.
this.
After we get a
first.
second.
Second. Make a
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, now, there can be comments or questions on the bill. Councilmember Zimmer?
Yeah, just I drove over there, looked at this. There is an existing curb cut there. And I'm not sure exactly why this was labeled no parking because Woodlawn, if you're familiar with Woodlawn, there's not a lot of street parking on either side for a lot of that street. But in this particular instance, where a new home is actually built, there's a curb cut and there's a setback of this part of the street. So the homeowner applied for this. I spoke with Mr. Hawes about why this was labeled no parking. Mr. Hawes, I'm not sure if you got any further information about that.
I wasn't able to identify what caused
Um,
it to be no parking in the first
So
place.
there's no reason, there was no justification to have this as no parking, so I support this.
Just to piggyback off of it, it's a unique situation I think we have in Kirkwood. When I first saw this, my gut was, no, why should we remove these parking lights? I drive by there at least twice a day. And I usually see police cars sitting there or utility trucks will be there using the space. Sometimes an Amazon truck will be there. But it's a unique situation we have in Kirkwood and so there's, as Mark said, it is about a 10, 12-foot section there that allows parking to be there. So I think in this situation,
Especially to that homeowner, that if you look at Google Maps before, there was not a home there. So that could be why there was no parking at that time. But now that there's a home there, it's a benefit to the homeowner.
So some of that goes back to days back in planning and zoning when that little subdivision went in there. And then the developer wanted to put a strip of condos in there. And so the neighborhood was who requested no parking to be put there because they didn't want anything to happen there. So I tried to explain to the homeowner that lived in the house to buy that lot behind there and they did not. So now it's a home. So now I understand what's going on. So that's the background story back into the 90s. So.
Our historian has spoken.
Plumber.
Yes, the old guy,
yeah,
right.
what was age?
Any other
Watch
comments?
it.
All in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11043, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, the bill passes for, Bill 11043 passes first reading approval. Resolution. We're on to resolutions. Resolution 111-2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Sunbelt Solomon Solutions in the amount of $67,425 for the purchase of single-phase dual-voltage pole-mount transformers for the electric department and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Do I have a motion and second to accept resolution 111-2024 as read?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions regarding this?
I called Mark and Director Electric Department and asked specifics on this. This is for multiple transformers that are going to go up that's all going to be in the Sugar Creek substation rebuild.
Which is
So
where
the-
I live.
And me. And so that's all going to affect us over that direction with a higher voltage. So all of those are going to be taken down. The question I was going to ask of Mark, and I didn't see him come tonight, and I missed that when I talked to him. What happens, and we maybe get back to me with that rest, is what happens with the old transformers? Do we keep them in inventory, but are they outdated now because of the higher voltage? Do we rehab them? Do we recycle them? Do we sell them to another municipality that may?
I'll be
So-
glad to get an answer for you on that.
Perfect. Okay,
No problem.
there's my questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call, please. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes,
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution 111-2024 has passed. Resolution 112-2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Kirkwood and the city of Glendale for construction engineering for new sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and street resurfacing on East Essex Avenue between Dixon and Sappington in the amount not to exceed of $46,719.09.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and second to accept resolution 112-2024 as read?
motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Comments and questions? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple questions for Mr. Hawes.
Mhm.
As I was glancing through this, on the second page, it talks about a federal grant being awarded for this project.
Yes.
80% of these costs being reimbursed. Can you kind of explain how that works and?
So this is a joint project between Glendale and the city of Kirkwood. And this grant is approximately $1.5 million overall project, including the preliminary engineering, design, right-of-way, and the construction. City of Kirkwood is going to, because part of the project is within the city of Kirkwood, the east extension of Essex to the city limits, is approximately 31% of the project. So we're going to be paying in that range, about a third of the overall, about 500,000 approximately will come from the city of Kirkwood for this project.
And in general, does the city usually get grant money for roads or how's that?
We've been very successful over the years in receiving grant funds, and I've got to commend Chris, who's out here, our Director of Public Services, and prior to him, Bill Bensing, who was Director of Public Services, and really any number of folks who are involved in water department, engineering department, they all contribute to making it possible to receive these grants and filling out the applications, working with consultants on the applications, making sure we have strong data to support our requests. The grants that the city's received just in the past 5 or so years total $32,828 of project worth. Kirkwood's obligation to have $33 million worth of work is about $10 million. The grants are supplying $23,074,000 worth of funding. These projects include the Kirkwood Road Signal Project, the Kirkwood Road Sidewalks, which was a TAP grant. The Geyer Road Resurfacing Phase 1 was STP, Geyer Road Resurfacing Phase 2, West Essex Avenue Reconstruction, East Essex Avenue Improvements, Manchester, which are the ones we're talking about right now, Manchester Road Phase 1, Manchester Road Phase 2. That was not a federal project, that was a MoDOT cost share project. North Kirkwood Road resurfacing, Lindeman resurfacing, the train station restoration is both TAP and state ARPA funding. The South Clay resurfacing is STP project. South Kirkwood Road resurfacing is STP project, and Grants Trail Phase 1 and 2 are TAP projects.
Wow.
Very
Say it
impressive.
to answer your question.
Well, it does, and then to piggyback off that,
Mhm.
if the residents were to vote in favor of this TDD, we can use that as a leverage then for more grant money going forward.
Absolutely. City Council can leverage funds to get more funds into projects. That is correct, with TDD funds.
But one of the things that I think is important to realize, because some people think we should be going for grants all the time, we have to pay for the grants and get reimbursed. So there's a cash flow issue with,
Well, it's just a matter of timing, so it's an interest.
Right.
Carry that cost, yeah.
We pay
is minimal.
upfront the full
Right, that's
price
minimal
until
compared to
the
80%.
acceptance after it's completed.
Yeah.
No, it's a small price to pay for the grants. That's correct. It's
Mayor's
more of a
point
cash
is-
flow issue.
Yeah, the mayor's point.
we
is-
have to just like
have to
kind of take a pause
We have to slow
on,
down some of the time
Yeah.
because we have to pick and choose the grants because we've been so successful. We just sometimes have to evaluate what works best for us.
I'm thumbing through this again, and there was a supplement in here, it talks about several property owners requested special connections from their downspouts or sump pumps into the MSD storm sewer. Is that something that does Kirkwood go, if we're starting a project on a road, do we go to the homeowners and say, hey, can we connect your sump pump into the MSD so it doesn't go onto the road and freeze?
I think where we can remediate problems that are known problems through a project such as this, we will approach the homeowners and we work with MSD to identify the best way to treat that project.
No, I think other than that, I think it's a great project. I'm
Mhm.
all over.
I wanted to mention too, that I spoke with Chris earlier today that there were no sidewalks on Essex there. So this is adding new sidewalk.
Along Essex from, I believe, Dixon all the way to the east city limits.
Yeah, and then there also, there's, the crosswalk is going to be shortened across Essex. Am I right?
Yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be redesigned because it's an angular crosswalk
Yes.
currently. It's going to be redesigned with a bump out and a shorter crossing,
And so that was.
much safer.
It's much safer.
Yep,
Yeah,
these are safety improvements,
Yeah.
both.
yes. Okay. Any more comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes,
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution 112-2024 has passed. We're going to move to city council reports. I just wanted to let you know that I'm wearing a little button here that tomorrow is World Day Without Cancer. And it's part of Pedal the Cause. And it funds cancer research at Siteman and Siteman Kids. There are a number of entities in Kirkwood that are, tomorrow will, part of their proceeds will be donated to Siteman to Pedal the Cause. Sunset 44, Four Hands, Christopher's, there's more. You can go on to the Pedal the Cause website and click on Kirkwood and see everyone. So if you're going to be out and about tomorrow, you might look for the entities that are going to donate back. Okay. Anybody else? Councilwoman Litzel.
Okay, I hope you guys will allow me to get on my soapbox here for a minute. The mayor and I attended the county council meeting on Tuesday to underline our request for the 2 additional traffic calming measures to be added to the county's upcoming repavement project on Big Bend that will launch next year. The timer went off, so I didn't get to finish all of my comments. So I'm gonna,
Did we do that to you here?
please, no, no, you can't. And if I were standing there, you might be able to pull the plug. So we were asking that the speed limit be lowered uniformly to 30 miles per hour along the entire length of Big Bend and Kirkwood, and that the drive lanes be restriped so that they're narrower than the current width. Both of those traffic calming measures are proven to help slow down traffic and improve safety for all users. And as I just said, I had my thoughts written down, but I didn't talk fast enough and the buzzer went off. Now, she didn't have a buzzer. It wasn't working when she talked. So anyway, so I recently, for that presentation, which county council didn't get to hear because it was towards the end, I had asked Police Chief Murphy for 5 years of crash reports for Big Bend, and he gave me, I'm very disappointed to hear that of his reports between 2019 and 2023, Kirkwood Police responded to 347 traffic crashes on Big Bend. That's an average of about 6 crashes per month on a 2 to 3 mile stretch of roadway. Not good. All but 32 of them involved 2 or more vehicles. 18 were caused by speeding or driving too fast for conditions, which means it was too snowy or too wet or whatever. Most of the rest of them were caused by distracted driving. On one of the busiest roads in Kirkwood, it handles about 24,000 cars per day, basically between I-270 on the west and I-44 on the east. A lot of these are preventable if drivers will slow down and keep their eyes and attention on the road. As part of our Vision Zero program, we're conducting a citywide speed study. And during April this year, the results showed that regardless of the posted speed limit, and on Big Bend, we've got 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, and 40 miles an hour, depending on where you're at. Regardless of the speed, over half of the drivers were speeding by some, and some of them by a lot. So I hope that our citizens are aware, because of Vision Zero, because of our bike walk plan, we're trying to get people to get out of their cars, to live a healthier lifestyle, to find alternative transportation, so we don't need so much parking, so that people are healthier, so that they can walk their dogs, which they do a lot along Merrimack. I hope they know that we are laser focused on safety when it comes to biking, walking, and driving in Kirkwood, but we really need citizens' help. We really need visitors' help to do this. We can't put police on every corner, just not feasible. We need everyone to obey the speed limits, to pay attention when they're driving, whether they're when they're crossing the streets on foot, especially when in doubt, wait as the crosswalk signals downtown demand. Please use designated crosswalks. It's much safer than jaywalking, especially as you're not as nimble as you once were. Also, please know that city staff are working with county transportation staff to improve the county's upcoming repaving project on Big Bend. County staff told the mayor and me that the striping of the drive lanes on Big Bend will be narrower. The actual width is still to be determined, and the county is studying the impact of our requested uniform speed limit of 30 miles per hour for all of Big Bend and Kirkwood. Studies show that reducing speed limits and narrowing lanes really do help slow traffic down. In addition to other benefits, it improves safety for all users by reducing the number and severity of crashes. Plus, when crashes do happen, for whatever reason, those that occur at higher speeds are much more dangerous and costly. So here on my soapbox, I have two requests for drivers in Kirkwood. Please obey the speed limits. And please keep your eyes and your mind on the road. One last thing before I wrap up my sermon. According to the CDC, the leading cause of death among teens is due to motor vehicle crashes. The risk of motor vehicle crashes is highest among teens age 16 to 19 than any other group. The lack of proper driving training and driving experience, plus speeding, distracted driving, and being unbuckled are some of the main causes for teen fatalities. According to the Missouri Coalition for Road Safety, 133 teens were killed in traffic crashes in Missouri in 2023. 47% of those crashes were due to speeding or driving too fast for conditions. 77% of the kids were unbuckled. Because Kirkwood High School no longer offers driver's ed, I hope parents will seriously consider enrolling their kids in a formal driver training course. For me, when I went to Afton umpteen decades ago, it was, and I am not exaggerating, I still remember the pictures in my head over 50 years ago of that car wrapped around a tree. It was one of the most important classes I took in high school. So bottom line, we can get close to our Vision Zero in Kirkwood if we all please work together. Thank you.
Chief Administrator report.
Oh,
Sorry.
I know, it's hard to follow her, but
Yes.
just Urban Forestry Group, great group. We are doing some work to try to give them some support and focus. There is a master plan we're trying to figure out the implications for the city. And so Lori, David, and I and the chair will be working together, and then Russ and Liz will help us kind of ferret out where we go next steps. But it's a great group. We have a new person or two on it and a good time to kind of regroup and move forward. So good stuff there. I have one question. I never know when to interrupt or not. Can I ask a question on something we just passed? Is this?
Yep.
It should,
Go ahead.
because I don't know, should I ask it before we pass it or afterwards?
Probably.
Can't change your.
Okay, okay. This
Yeah.
is real quick. It's just on the initiative that or the thing we're putting on the ballot. Will we have an education thing put out for the citizens to understand what we've asked for?
Are we talking about city attorney?
City attorney thing?
Yeah, we'll get word out through a press release, certainly, and we can't advocate, but
When-
we
That's why I
will.
said, are we doing an
education.
education piece that will be closer to that time? Are we doing it now, or just so that we educate them that this is going to be on the ballot and not a surprise?
We intend to get the rationale for why it's on the ballot out to the citizens so they understand and can make a good informed decision as to what they want.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
Like a poster child for it?
Yeah, why
Put
not?
John's face on everything.
And I didn't know if we wanted-
I think that's an excellent idea.
it's like you're-
An excellent idea. John.
Wanted?
John, it's only education. It's not advocating or anything, but if you don't mind,
We'll have a then and now.
yeah.
Oh,
But it's something that could go out via social media.
Oh, yeah, we can certainly, as long as it's
Okay.
informational, we'll use our own city resources
I
to get
just
that
wanted-
done.
The electric
that that
department
was-
insert, maybe,
Mhm.
what have you.
Again, this is, I mean, we've got some other things that are going to be on that ballot. I don't know, presidential race and stuff.
Yeah.
that might-
Should be a big turnout, yeah.
So it'd be
Don't
nice.
bring that up, please.
It'd just be nice if we had a little bit about Kirkwood on there.
Right, because it's for the November general election,
Yes.
not the one next Tuesday.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything they want to report on? Okay, Chief Administrative Officer's report, please.
Yes. The city did receive an application for a temporary outdoor promotional variance from Proper Cannabis, 10855 Manchester Road, to hold a grand opening event on August 24th, 25th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the parking lot of the property. This request would need city council approval by a voice vote.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve the application?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions?
Mayor, if I could, I'd just like to bring up some specifics about what was proposed. So, and it's in your packet.
Yes.
And you've got it. I just want to say they provided a description of what was proposed as being, having a grand opening event from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 25th with 3 10-by-10 easy up tents with 12-inch balloons attached to them, free food from a local restaurant, music from a single speaker kept at a reasonable volume, and a sign spinner on the property. And I assume a sign spinner is actual person spinning signs.
What it sounds like.
Is there anybody here from Proper that we can ask questions? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris Chesley with Proper Cannabis.
Hi, Chris. So cannabis is for adults only, right?
Correct.
How are you going to keep children off the parking lot?
We can monitor that.
No, how are you going to, that's my question.
We do have on-site security, that we keep there, during business hours. And if they seem to see anyone, that might be under the age, they can go up and ask them. There will be no product or access to any cannabis, outside of business or in view from outside of the business.
Nobody be consuming it or anything out there?
No, that would be against state law.
Really?
Yes.
Mhm.
Why
There's
is
no
that?
consumption allowed at any
On your
cannabis
property?
facility. Yeah.
Okay. Huh. It just seems to me that you're kind of making this, it sounds like a children's event. Every carload of kids going by is going to wonder, hey, Mom, can we stop and see what's going on?
Because of the balloons.
Yeah, the
and-
balloons and spinners and tents and free food stuff. I mean,
we
could
wanted
kinda-
to,
raise it to more adult level stuff.
yeah, and if there's something that the city council doesn't want to see there, we are more than willing to remove that. Obviously, the goal isn't to apply to or appeal to children at all. It's just to kind of attract attention. I think that from the NTB that was there and the construction that's been going on, some people just don't really notice it as much, or know that we're open. And so this is just to kind of make people aware.
I mean, we went through it. It's a great place. I mean,
Beautiful.
they did a beautiful job on, you know, I'm not against that. I'm just against the attractiveness to children.
Yeah, I have that similar just concern about that.
You done this at other locations?
We have, most of the time, or I'm not aware of any children trying to visit any of these. Most of the times it's customers that are already interested, or regular customers, or, people that, didn't know that we were open, like at our University City location. So that's just what we're trying to do here. We've never seemed to have any, issues in the past.
Can kids come in your store?
No.
So by law, they're not, you have to be 21.
The state hasn't really said, well, if they have a med card, they can be 18, and come in and purchase. There are some dispensaries that do allow children with a parent. We do not.
Open, if we make recommendations, you'd be abiding by what we recommend.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm kind of in favor of it, but there's some objections here, and I think they're valid concerns.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, if there are concerns about, a certain thing, that the council feels is more attractive towards children, we're definitely, willing to, not do those.
I guess I have a question. You said that it's mostly your customers and people that know about you that would be coming. So what's a point of a grand opening?
So what it usually does is people don't stop right away. Once they see that something's going on there, when people are driving by, especially I feel like on Manchester, they're going to an event, family gathering, they have things to do. People's lives are busy. So usually the day of is not really when we see a lot of people just automatically stopping. It's within the following days and weeks that we, see them finally come into the store.
Other questions? Comments?
I guess my question is, if we do an up or down vote now, based upon what he wants to do, it may go one way versus make make recommendations that it would be turn here for other council.
I will add, under the First Amendment, they are entitled to have this sign spinner on the property. They do not need permission from the city council to do that, because that's not a sign. The placement of the sign, the placement of the balloons. I had to ask Paul what a 10 by 10 easy up was, but a placement of a easy up would need council approval. So you have to sort of walk through the things that you don't want.
What's an easy up? I don't know.
It's
didn't
for
either.
tailgating, you know, the tents
It's
that
those
they put up
tents.
for tailgate.
This is what he explained.
It's 10 by 10 feet by 10 feet,
Right.
usually white
Yeah.
or something.
And this is on
Aluminum.
a Sunday, correct?
Yes, it is.
Any additional questions?
Is somebody wanting to like prohibit the use of balloons or I don't know.
You know, whether the balloons attract kids or not, if you're committed to not having kids there, I mean, I think ultimately, you know, if it's the bubble truck and free food, you know, whatever, that might entice them. Balloons, I mean, I just do hope that you do kind of commit to not having it a child-friendly event. I don't know.
Well, to be sure, they're not bringing a bubble truck. You were just using that as an example.
Right, so,
Okay.
you know, do balloons attract kids? I don't know. Fine with it.
I think, yeah, I think as long as they keep an eye on the age of people stopping by.
What age do you want to put on?
Well,
If
I
the
mean,
city council is going to authorize this, but you're going to put a limit, for example, no children under the age of 18?
18, yes.
We need to know that, because if that occurs, the police have to have the authority to say that they're violating this variance that the council granted.
They shut them down.
And then what's the repercussion of that in reality?
Just shut them,
That day, the
ideally, they shut them down.
the police would have the ability to shut them down that day on the spot.
Right. Because they violated the variance request, so they would terminate the grand opening, or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough call, because if someone brings a child on and then the owner comes out and says, oh, you're not allowed to have this child here, but the moment that there's a police there and, you know, catches it.
But you can have your spinner there no matter what, so. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and vote. All in favor of approval of the application, say aye.
I,
All opposed, nay.
Hey,
Nay.
I have a hand raised real quick of the nays, just so I can have a visual so I know. Okay, hold on 1 second. Thank you.
So the nays have it.
So it has failed.
Uh-huh.
Fail. Or 3 to 4.
All right.
Hmm.
You said the application
Clarification
failed.
Purposes, but what he can and can't have there, I guess he can get with the city as far as can't have an open house, but he can have a spinner
Yeah.
and whatever else.
Mhm.
Spinner. Mhm.
Jonathan, I don't think anything else is allowed other than the spinner, is there? Or is that in your area?
Well, you can address it later. I would like you guys to make sure that
Yeah, I mean, the reason it's a variance is, it's outdoor activity. So, I mean, they can do the normal, I mean, people can park on the parking lot, customers can be on the premises, but yeah, the tents, any tables or food service, because they don't have a restaurant, the ability to do that. So any of that, I mean, they could, I'm not going to get into, you know, all their business activity would have to be indoors.
Right.
Um,
They could have food inside for their guests.
if that, I don't know the state laws on cannabis and that, so I can't, I almost went there, but I don't know what they're allowed by the
I
state.
know about balloons.
Outside,
I don't know what the status is. I know the spinner
Yeah.
is authorized as a First Amendment activity.
I believe, I'd have to look at it. I believe we group together streamers and other attention-getting devices that are strung up. I would say that they would not be allowed to do balloons. I mean, typically we think of like large gorilla balloons on an auto dealership or something, not 10 to 12-inch party balloons, but
What I recall as well.
All right, city attorney report.
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you.
You know what, Mayor, I have a question for Russ.
Mhm.
Did you follow up with that guy, you know, the guy that came and talked to us about the deer on his property? Are we doing it, trying to help that situation, or?
We
Not
have
his
not
property, but here
followed
in
up
general.
specifically with him, but we have had discussions internally about the fact that the city in the past had done a deer inventory or a survey where we actually counted deer on the west side of Kirkwood with a company called White Buffalo. We still have that report. We can provide that to city council so you can see what they found. That was about 6 years ago. But we could certainly provide that to council, so you can know what we had 6 years ago. We don't obviously have a survey beyond that from now.
Deer are a nuisance out there. I mean, they're dangerous, talking about safety on the roads. Once a week, somebody hits one of those.
And we do have a managed shoot that occurs every year
Yeah.
in the, absolutely in the Powder Valley area.
Powder Valley.
Only in
Mhm.
Powder Valley.
Could we do that over in Sugar Creek somewhere?
Council hasn't authorized that.
How do you? We just let the deer
That gets,
overrun the.
that gets very complicated
Yeah.
out. Town and
We
country has
talked
tried
about
it,
this
other
also.
cities have tried it, but how you regulate shooting in a residential neighborhood is problematic.
Thought they did bow hunting.
Some allow bow hunting.
Even,
You want to see deer, come over to
Even
my house.
so.
They're there all the time.
yeah.
Too.
Alright.
I had talked to
I
my,
was concerned about it, so I'm just bringing it up.
Get a dog.
No, it's reasonable. We have discussed it among staff and, we're just,
As an aside, there's stuff you can spray. It has a little stench to it.
Mhm. right,
But it
thanks,
keeps
Rob.
the
So-
deer away and the kids.
Keeps the kids away.
On to the city clerk report.
Yes, Your Honor. I only have one thing to report on, which is a scheduled upcoming public hearing. We have a public hearing scheduled for August 15th for a request for a special use permit for an accessory dwelling unit at 1325 Lark Avenue in a detached structure. And that's all I
Thank
have.
you. Seeing no further business, this meeting is now adjourned. The regular scheduled meeting will be on Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Thank you.